Welcome back to the channel. I'm trying to show you kind of what my idle sounds like. It's not very good. It's really choppy. Kind of sounds like a misfire. Might be a misfire. Probably a misfire. But I've tried changing the spark plugs. I've tried checking the wires. I've tried checking the timing. I've done all sorts of stuff, and today I'm gonna do something I probably should have done a long time ago, which is properly bleed the coolant system. So I'm gonna go down to Advanced Auto Parts to pick up a funnel that will allow me to hook directly up to the intercooler and bleed it a lot more effectively, unlike the last time I did it. So I gotta go grab that, and then we'll get right to it. Wait a second though, first and foremost, guys, put it down in the comments. Let me know where you're watching today's video from, and also what mods you guys are working on. Any issues? Maybe some other viewer might be able to help you, so put it down in the comments, and let's get today's video started. I got the parts. Now we can go back home. So now that we're back home, I've been letting the Prelude cool down a little bit so I don't roast my hand on coolant. I think it's probably been long enough, but I'll show you guys real quick a couple things under the hood. Okay, so real quick before we open that, I've got merch available on the site. I don't plan on restocking for a little bit, so what's left up there is what's gonna be left up there for a while, because something big is coming to the channel, guys. Can't talk about it too much yet, but just know that the merch might be delayed. So if you want something now, I've got stickers, banners, t-shirts, a hoodie or two left. Go head to the website right here. So the other day, I was out here looking for vacuum leaks, and right underneath this black box here is a rather large vacuum line that runs from the air filter here, or air box there, underneath all of the carburetor stuff, and then it comes up right there under this black box and then goes into what I believe is the carburetor. So I had to replace that line a while ago, and I think it was pinched, although now I believe I've solved the issue. So I don't know if there's still a pinched line back there. There very well could be, and that could be one issue causing the idle problems. But today what I'm gonna try and do is just bleed the coolant system. I'm gonna go ahead and break loose that little 12 mil nut right there. That should help bleed the coolant. And then we're just gonna remove this cap and use that new funnel that we bought today to bleed everything out. Gotta give a big shout out to Eric, the car guy, because the video he made was actually specified mainly for Honda owners, because there's just so many issues when it comes to having an idle issue with Hondas. A lot of the time, he said the first place to look is bleeding your coolant, because you may have air trapped in the system. So I've set up the parts I need, which is this new funnel system that will allow me to actually hook up with a cap onto the coolant reservoir, the cap that is there right now. And then we've got some pre-mixed universal antifreeze and coolant, and then like I said before, we're just gonna break open this little nut. It's a 12 mil to allow the air bubbles to be released. And this was the other thing I wanted to show you guys in here. So this piece right there, yeah, this line I left plugged, but this thermo valve, this thing coming off right here that has 4 vacuum lines on it, is for sure not working correctly, because these little nubs are super fragile. If you've ever tried to mess around with this thing, you definitely know what I'm talking about. But it's a thermo valve, and essentially I'm gonna need to hopefully find someone that makes one of these for just like a universal type of way, because there's definitely none that exist for the 3rd gen Prelude specifically. After talking to some enthusiasts who also have the B28.3, the dual carb motor like I do, they have told me that what that mechanism should do is really only mess with the cold start, so it should hopefully mess with the choke, and essentially what that would mean is I would just have trouble cold starting. But I have trouble idling all the time, so it doesn't really only come on when I'm doing a cold start. So that's what I'm hoping to fix today with the coolant flush. If it doesn't fix it, whatever, show you guys how to do it, and it's always good to flush your coolant and not have air bubbles in it. Let's do it. After a couple of minutes messing around with this thing and all the components, I figured out which ones I need to assemble it to the 3rd gen Prelude. By the way, guys, I will have a link down below in the description to this if you guys want to scoop one up. Definitely useful. And if you plan on flushing your coolant correctly, it's super helpful. But again, down in the description. But now all we have to do is get the rest of the car set up. I've got the coolant ready. I've got the funnel just about ready to go, like that. And that's pretty much it, guys. So let's jump into it. So Eric, the car guy, mentions kind of something funny and something you probably wouldn't expect. He says, because some coolant does run through the heater core, I believe, what you want to do is leave your air control down to 0 or off, but you want to slide your temp all the way over to as hot as it goes, and then make sure your AC is not on. And apparently that will allow more coolant to be flushed through the system, and you'll get an even better flush all in all. So next what we're going to do is take some of the coolant, put it into here, and just kind of make sure we have enough that bubbles up, you know, that way. The whole point of that is once we have the car running, the air bubbles from the coolant system will hopefully come out, and then the coolant that is sitting in here will replace it. So it should be a nicely bleeded system. But next what we're gonna do is, like I said, put the coolant in there, and then we're gonna take our 12 mil, bleed that guy until we have some coolant coming out. We'll tighten it back down, and then I think we start the car after that. Okay, so what I did there was put a bunch of coolant up in this reservoir. Immediately after putting some in here, it started dumping out of the bleed valve as it's supposed to. So as soon as the liquid starts coming out, just go ahead and tighten that back down. And then I just went ahead and put some more in here, topped it off. And I believe now what we get to do is turn on the engine. We're gonna run it until basically the cooler fans come on up front here. And once that happens, we're gonna just kind of top it off as we go, and then that should effectively bleed the system. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and start the car. And again, we're just gonna let it idle and run until the front cooler fans come on, and then we'll just keep topping it off. Probably help if I use the car keys to start the Prelude. Wouldn't that be cool if you could just like think about starting the car and it would turn on? I feel like already it sounds better. Like there's already like no idle shake. I don't know if you guys, yeah, I don't know, I feel like it sounds better. So again, we'll let that idle. We're just gonna wait until those fans come on up front, and we'll just keep topping this off as we need to. But right now it's a good level. That way if bubbles come up, fluid goes down. If you need to, you can also use a little bit of throttle to help get the motor up to temp and get those fans on. Maybe, I don't know, like 2,000 RPM. So I can tell it's definitely working because as I apply some throttle, occasionally if I hold it, some bubbles will come out the funnel. So it's still working. The fans haven't come on yet, even though the temp gauge is saying it's up to temp. So I'm gonna keep running it until those fans come on. Hey, just like that, the fans have finally come on. So I guess that means the engine is fully up to temp, and I think that should wrap it up. It didn't actually take that much coolant, so there may not have been that many air bubbles, but there was definitely some air trapped in there. I actually just moved the Prelude onto kind of an inclined part of the driveway, so that way the funnel was gonna be the highest point of the car, essentially, just because I was thinking more bubbles might come out, and in fact they did. I shut the Prelude off and turned it back on, and each time I turned it on, a bubble or two, a big bubble or two would come up, and I figured somewhere there was still some air trapped. So moving the car around, starting it up a few times helped get the last bit of air out. I just turned it on a couple more times and no more air was coming up. So I presume we are fully bled here on the coolant system. I'm gonna figure out how to get the remaining fluid out of this thing and get it taken off, and then I'll catch up with you guys to hopefully run over the last few things. All right, so I just gave her a quick little wash. Looks a lot better, sounds better. I mean, I don't think it fixed it 100%. You know, it still shakes a little bit, the motor shakes a little bit. Still doesn't sound 100% good, but I would say compared to before I fixed that vacuum line and then just now did that coolant flush, I would say it's night and day, but that's just me. I drive this car every day, so I notice the little things, the littlest of things, but I'm sure you guys do on your own cars too. So Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and learned something. Comment down below what you guys want to see next on the 3rd Gen Lude. And if you're new here, hit that sub button. See you next time. Keep elevating.